It's the message, Carving Sound, Music for Life. Welcome to Music Class. I got another dope interview going down. So I am new to this artist in the Twin Cities. These are my favorite interviews because I'm more inquisitive than fangirling out over you. You got to give me a minute to process what I know about you, the fangirl. But this is Philli Irvin, Carving Sound, the message audience, a multidisciplinary social practice artist. We got to dig into that. From North Minneapolis, who specializes in event production, immersive installations, and illustrations. And this is the part that I really want to dig into. Yeah. He is also the founder and executive director of Intro to Success, Carving Sound, the message. Welcome, Philli Irvin. Yay!
Yo, what's good?
This is the audience now. Yay!
I love it.
Welcome. Thank you. I am very new to you, so this is me really being like, I'm about to really dig in and find out who you are because I'm already interested and excited in what you're doing. Want to get into your music because you work with some of the artists that I like. Yeah. Papa Envy and Fruit Punch Lover. Fruit Punch Lover Boy, make your way to this desk, please, okay? Because I want to know how it is working with them. I'm fans of these artists, so. But first of all, just let us know who you is. Why you the man? Because on the paper, you the man. So let us know. What's up?
So again, I'm Philli Irvin. I also go by Philos 3 times.
Philos 3 times, okay.
Yes, Philos. Okay. And and also on the Fruit Punch tip, I need a feature from him.
Okay, you too. You trying to go?
Yeah, I'm trying to. So when you get on here, let me know. But so my background is in visual arts and performance.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up around theater and dance. I went to this production company that was called Journey Productions, which was essentially a collective of younger dancers, singers, and I'm forgetting. Acting. Okay. And so that was like my introduction to art and and at this time I think I was in maybe third grade, I don't know, early middle school.
Okay, cool.
And at that point I kind of was like, there's kind of 2 routes where it's sports and all that, and then art. And I was like, I gravitate toward the art stuff. So
I gotta ask, as a young black boy, what did that feel like? Because I feel like there's even a push to go sports, and I minored in art. What was it that made you pick that route to go that way?
I think it was really just the enjoyment, the energy of the sports. Sports was fun, and then it gets to a point where you're getting older, and then people are serious,
intense. Yeah.
I was like, I don't really care to win or to lose, and I actually at a point was scared to win because I was I don't know what the term is, but I was afraid of hurting people. You know what I mean? And I think it was also a reflection of how I moved through the world. But
what sport are you speaking about?
It was basketball, baseball, and football. But I was just I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And I wasn't even good to where I'm about to be destroying people or anything. But it was just I don't know, it was just a weird thing. Thinking back, where it's competition was it wasn't my thing.
Okay, so art expressing yourself.
Yeah.
What do you think led to you picking that?
Yeah.
So what I like to do is I like when artists come in and I get to what led you to do all of this great stuff you're doing first, because it inspires other young people when they can hear the behind the scenes. So before you decided I'm going art, what inspired you to say I'm going with the art?
Yeah, I feel my influence with that production company and Tanya Williams, who was one of the founders and directors of that, and just other mentors in the program Jeremy and Sarita, and I had all these people around me who showed me the possibility of a career or a lifestyle with creativity as a practice, because before I didn't know that was a thing.
So them introducing you, wow, I love that, because I hear a lot of men say that they were told sports. I didn't even hear art. So that's cool that you had that influence. So after that, you're in this program, and then what happens next? So we're in 3rd, 4th grade. We're a part of this program. Did you create something? Were you a part of something that was this is the path?
So I used to dance. I actually used to be in a dance crew.
Okay, I dance too. All right,
There's some videos of me on YouTube somewhere dancing to Frank Ocean.
Okay.
But I think really just again, seeing that pathway, and I remember being a part of. So it was like a sort of conglomerate of this program. So it was like fans, which was furthering achievement through, I don't know, it was like a college readiness program.
Yeah.
So it was a mix of that, because they also brought in like artists and took us on tours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This, production company that I was a part of, which again is like led by the same people.
Right.
And through that, I got connected with other, like Black Northsiders and creatives like Namir, but I also, aka Blue Bone.
I love Blue Bone!
Yeah, but I went to middle school with him. And yeah, so like even my middle school influence was really important because it was rooted in Black history and heritage and expression. And I feel like my early educational upbringing really fostered like creativity and entrepreneurship, leadership. My cousins as well, like my older cousins, they either drew or made music. So, and I'm the youngest of, 3 sisters.
Okay.
So like, as far as like the men in my family, and even my sisters too, all, singers, dancers, whatever.
So they're the
my
arts.
grandma,
you grew up in the
what I mean?
arts.
So I just kind of, grew up in that. So.
Wow, I love that.
It's come in different places.
What comes to me immediately is like that makes me want to support organizations like that, because it helps to develop and to spark the creativity of young kids like you. So that's a mental note for myself when I see something. And y'all too, that's how we support these young people when we have these organizations that are helping them with their creativity and giving them an out to support those things. So what music was you listening to back then?
What music was I listening to back then? So it's crazy because
I heard Frank Ocean. I heard that.
Yeah, so it was like, it wasn't until I started getting into high school early high school that I started listening to music, because one of my friends, Monte Carlo, who makes music, he introduced me to listening to albums. And before that, I thought listening to albums was stupid. I was like, why would I want to just listen to the same person?
That's interesting. No, it's interesting to hear that, because album listening music listening is different now. Yeah. And so I've always loved music. I sit there for hours on hours listening to music. But to try to understand someone who doesn't do that, that's cool to have that insight.
Yeah.
Okay. And even though everybody was singing and stuff in the background, you still felt like listening to albums.
Yeah, I was just like, because my kind of thought process going into it was like, I want to hear something new and different. And I was like, how could someone, the same person with that same voice, like produce things that were different?
Okay.
But I also think I had a little bit of like annoyance and trauma wrapped into that. Like I remember being really young. And my sisters would dance, and I would play like the same music. Like if somebody's dancing, they got to rehearse.
Yeah.
And you're playing the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was like, I don't want to hear the same thing like over and over and over.
So the dance life, because in dance you 5, 6, 7,
you gotta
and you got to hit it, man. You got to run that back and back.
Yeah,
so that's what turned you off from the album listening experience.
Yeah.
But then your cousin, they introduced you to what album was it?
It was I think it was a kid named Cudi. It was like, it was Cudi, and the cover is black and white, and then the type is yellow. So I think so that was my first like album that I
What'd you listen to after that?
More Kid Cudi.
Wow, that's so cool.
More
so Kid Cudi was the one.
Yeah, Kid Cudi was the one. And I remember so it was my friend, not my cousin, but he's like family, my brother.
Yeah.
To me now. But yeah, he would also listen to like Bring Me to the Horizon. Yeah. And just like all of these like alternative sounds, and so he put me on to a lot early on.
And I like you said alternative. That's here.
What do you mean?
You mean when you were put onto alternative music?
Oh, yeah.
Because I learned alternative music here. Yeah. I'm from Chicago.
Okay, word. My family's from Chicago.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I wanted to ask because I was like, the way you talk, I feel like you're from Chicago.
Yeah. All right, so you've already given me some music to play. So I'm going to put on a couple of songs. We're going to take a break and then we're going to get back. We're going to finish where you started off, which was you started listening to albums, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This is The Message, Carbon Sound. This is Music Class. In the studio is Philli Irvin. We're going to get down to what happened after after Kid Cudi put him on The Message on Carbon Sound Music for Life. Yeah. It's The Message, Carbon Sound Music for Life, in Music Class today with Philli Irvin. Say that the 3 times.
Philos, aka Philos 3 times.
Okay, Philos 3 times. I want to make sure I'm respecting the name. Make sure we respecting the name. So you said something. You mentioned that you could tell I was from Chicago.
Yeah.
For all the Chicago people, I want you to say this. What gave it away that I was from Chicago?
Yeah, for me it was earlier. Like you said, it was like how you said out there. Like it was just the conjunction. Yeah, and like it's like certain pairing of words.
Yeah.
You know that it rolls in a certain way.
Okay,
like,
yeah. We were with at our last break. We were talking about alternative music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Chicago. I'm used to hearing like blues, all of the stuff that Chicago's known for, rock, jazz, and I didn't really get into alternative. Like I heard alternative in music.
Yeah.
I mean, in movies more so than I heard like people just randomly playing this on the radio. Like I learned that here, and so that's where we left off on the last conversation. So now we're at the part where you're listening to albums. Kid Cudi to put you on. So how do we get into this world of Intro to Success where you're creating resources for visual artists and performing art? Like how do we go from that to that? That's a big jump.
And so and keep in mind all of these things are happening at the same time.
Okay.
And I didn't really understand until looking back like what was happening, but so again, I'm in these programs that are introducing me to other young Black creatives, right? I'm really inspired, and I always held this vision of like doing something for community, for artists. It's also another video of me on YouTube monologuing about that.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna find that somewhere.
Philo 3 times. Okay.
But yeah, I think like there's this seed that was planted into me from my village of not just doing for yourself, but your people. And when I looked around, my people were, young Black creatives. And the lived experience was we have a lot of energy, we have a lot of love and a lot of inspiration and a lot of big ideas, a lot of challenges that we want to solve. And so, we were very, what is the word? Starts with an I, I'm forgetting it.
Inspired?
Nah, where it's like we took initiative, in the things that we were interested in. And so in like taking that initiative, we encountered certain barriers. And one of those barriers for me early on was I think it was like 2015, 2016, when we were trying to do shows and realizing like, oh, people don't take us serious, or, people are imposing barriers on us, whether that was like access to venues or, funds or even just organizing in general. I was like, this is I think more difficult than it should be. Other people are doing shows, why can't we?
Right.
And so that's when we kind of had to, we couldn't do shows at certain venues outside. Like we had to tap into, our resources, which was like Oak Park. And so we're like, all right, we're gonna do our own show since these venues aren't, letting us in for whatever reason.
Right.
And so that's when, in 2016, I did my first show in collaboration with Blue Bone. It was called K&D, and that was also supported by another amazing initiative, which I think started to frame like what is its, and that was called Youth Prize. It was called Youth Prize Change Fellowship, and so basically they had these different artists from different backgrounds, or not just artists, different. I would call them like social practitioners. They were working in arts, agriculture, different things, but they supported us in our ideas, and so I think I started to just echo that within, my community. And I did that first event with Blue, K&D. And after that, I was like, oh, this could be something much deeper than just, performance and sharing space. We could really build infrastructure. And so that's when that started to transpire.
I love that you said this because I just reported on a story about Kendrick Lamar and Dave Free, and they were talking about what their secret sauce is. And they said basically what you just said. And they said they come up with the idea, and then he said it. They take initiative, and then they create a system around it, and then they said, what did he say? Then they see if it's sustainable. Can we keep doing this? And then after all of that, they go, do we like this? And then they put it out in the world. It's just really cool to hear you. Wow. And so all of that, the whole process of you wanting to take initiative on this artistic expression, and you going, hey, there's a lot of doors here, and then you making it your responsive, you taking ownership of that and saying, it shouldn't be this difficult to do this. And this is how we came up with Intro to Success. Oh my goodness. So tell us more about Intro to Success. Wow.
So Intro to Success is what my mentor calls my brainchild. Chris is the founder of New Rules.
Yeah.
Chris and Leslie Redmond are like my family.
Yeah.
They evolved into family, but started as like, mentors.
Okay. I got a couple of them, so I feel you.
Yeah.
They're listening right now.
Intro to Success, it's for short, again, stem from K&D, and really thinking about how can we lead and also build a sort of alternative creative institution.
Yeah.
Because like I went to college, and I think there was just certain gaps that were missing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I was being led in a specific direction, which makes sense. It is an institution; it's a system,
right.
So they have
of
like a certain process and procedure in place that they're supporting you in going.
Right.
But I was in the frame of mind that like I have these things that I want to learn.
Yeah.
I have this certain design thinking, this background that I want to learn more about. I was kind of like, hey, can you help me in that? And that was like my quest in going to college.
Right.
And I think, they gave me a lot of tools. I think the thing that I really got from that was like the network and again, like that design thinking.
Yeah.
But what I wanted more than that was like, I have this idea that I need support in, that I want support in.
Yeah.
Can you help me? And I think I didn't realize till the last year, they're like, oh, that's an independent study. I'm like, damn, why? I could have been doing that the whole time.
Hey, but I gotta say this about college. Yeah. I feel like because student loans are making folks, but like even my college led me to this. And a lot of times college is just a place that makes you go, maybe this ain't where I really need to be. And if you got that and if you learned like this isn't for me, I feel like it was worth it. I really do. And I feel like I love that you said that you was like, hey, this is independent. They're not teaching this what I need to know. And so now you're creating this institution that's now teaching people. That is so, I'm sorry, that's magical. That's cool. I love that. So like, what do you do? Like what type, I know you put on events, like what do you do? So what was, like, tell us.
So we do events. Events is like the seed of all of what we're doing. I think what I learned from the Youth Prize Change Fellowship is to create what's called an MVP. And the MVP is a minimum viable project or a minimum viable prototype. And it's essentially thinking about what is within my capacity, what is like the simplest or the most capable form of what it is that I'm trying to do.
Right.
So what can I do with what I have?
Right.
And then how is that connected to the core of like my concept?
That is so important. Where am I at? What do I have? How do I get to this next place? Yeah. So much of how I got to this mic has been that. That is a gem, and I don't want to skip over that. And just the fact that it seems like this is a focus on the systems. Like this is providing resource to all these little itty bitty systems that artists have to come into contact with. Is that wrong or is that right?
No, yeah, I would say that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. So when you put on these events, what's happening at the events? Like what's it's factory, it's prom, it's home. What is that all about?
And so the event started as just a means of gathering, right?
Okay.
Because music brings people together, food brings people together.
Yes, sir.
And so I started off doing these events as like just simple ways of building network and gathering and like attracting, this, which at the time and still now is like the community that I'm a part of. And so I wasn't thinking about it like, oh, let's target creatives. It's like, let's do something that, my community is interested in. And that's who that was. And so...
that's brave.
So doing things that was inviting people into this space. And then I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like I'm learning how to produce events. Okay. And then after that, it was like, okay, events, I feel like we have that down. Like now let's add another lens of like depth to it, which to me was like these different themes because it allowed us to do marketing for the events and really think about how do you visually tell a story and communicate a message. And then also within space, I started thinking a lot about like how we move through space. Yeah. And so that inspired me to think about like, okay, how can we prompt different ways of being through space? So considering like who's going to be there, some people might be a little bit more anxious. So how do we create these quiet spaces.
Wow.
And so then it started to become like, again, more of like designing and being considerate or caring of the people who are in the space, and like how can you add value to, you know, their life through their, you know, experience. And so from there it started to get more into like, again, like design and thinking about how we move the space and how can you offer something to them.
I just want to shout out your family for because they planted some that's crazy. You just like that's community. That is community. And we ain't got enough time.
I know, I was like, dang, I could synthesize a bit more. I know we got a lot, but
nah, because we ain't even get to your music, man. I'm so moved by this. I'm an artist, and I'm all these systems, these little things that are not built. Like you have to create these things. Even me, in radio, like as a Black woman moving, there's not a lot of infrastructure back here. And I discussed that with Georgia Fort. There's not a lot of, just being a Black person moving in the world, there's not a lot of infrastructure that really speaks to us and our culture. And so anytime we have an artist that's Black, that's thinking community and just bringing this vibe back, wow, it's prom, it's home, and you're creating these spaces that's for young people. It's home, that's for college students that's been traveling. It's gallery, that's for the art. Like you have something for everybody. And it's called Intro to Success. And if we need help, we need your help. Philos 3 times. We need your help for our stuff. How can we get in contact with you?
So my Instagram, dang, what is my Instagram? I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think so. My its Instagram is It's Factory, so that's ITS and then just Factory.
Okay.
And then my personal Instagram, I think it's Philos and then X3.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
we got to get a website for this Intro to Success thing.
Yeah. It's cooking up.
We got because this is. I work with kids for 25 years. So again, like I said at the beginning, anytime we got programs, it's like this. I grew up with public media. I grew up with community programming. So I am a poster child of all of that. So anytime I see that, I'm like, yes, the baby's gonna make it. And then how can we listen to, like, you got music, you're working on music. Is there anything that we need to be listening to? We need to be looking out for?
I just got my first grant for myself as a practicing artist.
Okay.
It's mixing 3D design, immersive installation, and sound. And so I'm working on a project that's like bringing all those things together. And then there'll be an installation and a performance like next summer.
You got to come back and talk about that.
Yeah. And then for It's, can I do a little plug?
Absolutely. So we've been talking about all day.
Yeah. So we have an event coming up called Jambridge. For those of you who don't know, Jambridge is a cultural event that's thinking about revisiting recent ways of historically Black gatherings. Yeah. And what are those values? What are those principles? What are those practices?
Wow.
We study a era and a time, and then we bring it together through sound and installation. And so
like the cookout.
Kind of, yeah. So last year we studied Miami bass. Yeah. This year it's UK jungle. So bringing in that influence and those connections.
Please come back because I want to get. I didn't even touch the surface of the tech part and how you like weave all of that. Oh my goodness,
it's a lot.
Please come back.
I will. Please have me back. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, please. Philos 3 times.
Yeah.
Philos.
Yes.
Times 3. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Philli Irvin, thank you so much for coming in and sharing this information with us. It's stands for Intro to Success. One more time, that IG, so we can find you.
Yeah, it's Factory.
Okay,
yeah, it's
all right. Well, you got to come back and let us know what's going down about the cookout. We got to get into that. This has been The Message, Carbon Sound Music for Life. We are in music class. I still have some music class. I still got some stuff to teach you, so don't go anyplace. But thank you, Philli.
Yeah,
thank you so much. All right.